More Americans now work in healthcare than any other sector. So why are outcomes still getting worse? In the last year alone, nearly 1/3 of all new jobs in the U.S. came from one sector: healthcare. More than manufacturing. More than tech. In 38 states, healthcare is now the largest single employer. On paper, this looks like progress. More jobs. More access. More resources devoted to keeping us well. But that assumption deserves a closer look, because most of this expansion isn't happening in prevention. It's happening in treatment, in late-stage symptom-driven care, in patching up the downstream effects of poor health, not preventing them in the first place. This is what happens when a system grows without evolving. We expand the infrastructure of disease management, not health creation. And it's costing us more than money. More health care is not equal to better health. Every new diabetes center represents thousands of people who didn't need to develop diabetes. Every cardiac unit expansion signals preventable heart disease. Every oncology wing reflects missed opportunities for cancer prevention. Chronic disease rates are rising. Burnout among providers is at record highs. And what about patient satisfaction? Lower than ever. Real healthcare progress would look different. Fewer people needing intensive interventions. More resources directed toward prevention and health creation. Technology advancing longevity, not just treating decline. But that's not the system we're building. We train more nurses, hire more support staff, and build more facilities, but most of that growth still revolves around diagnosing and treating illness after it shows up. We're doubling down on reactive medicine while prevention gets virtually no economic support. And while some of that is certainly necessary, it's not where real progress lies. The most underutilized asset in health? You. Here's the part that rarely gets said. You are the only one who lives in your body 24/7. Not your doctor. Not your insurer. Not your lab report. You notice when energy shifts. When sleep patterns change. When your digestion doesn't feel quite right. A number 15-minute appointment can replace that level of daily awareness. The most powerful health intervention isn't a new drug or procedure. It's recognizing that you're the primary observer of your own biology. This means proactive screening when you feel optimal, not when symptoms force your hand. Biomarker tracking to catch changes ahead of disease. Making decisions with both data and intuition. Seeking expert interpretation when needed, but showing up informed. Too often, the healthcare system treats your body like a black box that only experts can interpret. But you're not a passive recipient of your own biology. You're the chief of a system you inhabit every moment. You have access to real-time data no laboratory or device can replicate. How you feel, what's changing, and what inputs you are feeding into your body. That's where smart partnerships begin. When you come to the table, with your own baseline metrics. With patterns you've observed. With specific questions and an idea about direction. With a prevention mindset, not just a treatment need. This isn't about rejecting medical expertise. It's about bringing irreplaceable intelligence to the collaboration. Because your job isn't just to comply and wait for instructions. It's to notice, to track, to intervene early. To take ownership of your baseline and your trajectory. That's not anti-medical. That's what true partnership looks like. Why this shift matters. For us. For the system. For future generations. The more of us who approach health this way, the better the outcomes. Not just for individuals, but for society. Because every time someone catches a deficiency before it becomes disease, every time someone course corrects based on early warning signs, we free up the system to do what it was meant to do. Provide specialized, high-quality care for complex problems. Innovate. Advance. But if we keep using the system to manage lifestyle-driven breakdowns that could have been prevented, it will never catch up. No matter how many jobs it creates. And no matter how many dollars we throw at it. This is the shift the longevity vault was built for. If prevention and self-regulation don't become the default, we risk hard-coding decline, turning dysfunction into policy and passivity into public health strategy. That's why I'm focused on building usable, individualized systems for health sovereignty, tools that make prevention, staying well, the baseline, not the outlier. Not just because prevention should be the economic model, but because the most powerful force in your longevity isn't a new drug or AI diagnostic tool, or even a great specialist. It's you, showing up consistently with the right inputs at the right time. Let's build around that. If this shifted how you think about your health, pass it on. Forward this episode to someone you care about, or share the Longevity Vault with them, where I share the practical and personalized tools for health creation. If this episode was helpful, consider liking and subscribing so you'll be notified when new ones go live. To learn more about Sleep OS, my flagship system built to help you sleep through the night, even when good sleep hygiene hasn't worked, visit thelongevityvault.com. The link's in the show notes.